Action News, Delaware Valley's leading news program with Gary Papa, Dave Roberts, and Jim Gardner.
It is Monday night, and the big story on Action News tonight is breaking news in Burlington County, New Jersey. Chopper 6 is now live above Florence Township, where firefighters are battling a blaze that broke out within the hour at 304 Foundry Street. And initial reports from the scene are that some residents, possibly some children, may be trapped inside the house. Arriving firefighters found smoke and flames coming from both floors of the two-story dwelling. A number of rescue crews are also standing by, but so far there have been no victims transported to area hospitals. If we get more information on this developing story in Florence, New Jersey, of course, we will bring it to you. It is crisis time for the public school community in Coatesville, and at a meeting tonight, emotions have been rising to a boil. Live outside the high school tonight, Action News reporter David Henry. David, what's the latest there?
Well, the latest, Jim, is that the school board was hoping to vote tonight on some drastic cost-saving measures, but they are still getting quite an earful from an oftentimes unruly crowd that packed the auditorium here at the high school tonight. They are angry about these drastic cost-cutting measures that have been proposed, and the upshot is that the current students and staff are being asked to pay for the sins of the past. At times, it verged on open rebellion when the overflow crowd refused to clear the aisles. The police were called in to restore order. It was a night of jeers, cheers, and tears. Secretary Lisa Lees was consoled by friends after learning her job would be one of over 150 to go.
They didn't have the courtesy to tell her. She read it in this bulletin tonight when she came in.
It's very upsetting, especially when you're dedicated to your job. You really love your job.
You put in 30 years.
It'll be 30 years in December.
The schools are in a $13 million hole. The district is trying to dig out without raising taxes. That means eliminating over 150 jobs, dropping kindergarten, middle school sports, alternative education, and other programs.
Expenditures must equal revenues, and we can't get around that.
The current administration inherited the problem. When they took over last summer, they had the books examined and found out the district had been hiding deficit budgets since 1993. The level of deception and mismanagement may even lead to criminal charges.
If we find anything that is against the criminal code, we will certainly go to the DA as quick as possible.
The angry crowd packing the high school auditorium wasn't interested in hearing how it happened. They feel the suggested cuts are much too drastic. Some say it'll drive them away.
My kid's going to have to suffer for this. I don't know. I might have to take her out of the school district. Move.
This is clearly a school district in crisis, and the people who showed up for this meeting tonight are very unhappy about what appears to be a painful and uncertain road ahead. Live in Coatesville, I'm David Henry, Channel 6 Action News. Jim?
Thank you, David. Substitute teachers and their supporters rallied outside the school board meeting in Camden tonight. The teachers claim they have not been called to work since joining the union last month. They have filed a grievance against the district. Many of the protesters also went inside tonight's board meeting, hoping to make their voices heard. School officials dispute charges that they are trying to bust the union. They say the substitutes are not being used because of a projected $40 million budget deficit. Chopper 6 was over the scene in Norristown, Montgomery County, where a girl was hit by a car tonight. It happened on Main Street near Hartranft Avenue at 9:30. Police are investigating exactly what happened, but they say the driver did remain at the scene. The girl has been flown to Children's Hospital in Philadelphia for treatment. The court-appointed lawyer for Center City rapist suspect Troy Graves went to court in Fort Collins, Colorado today to say that her client has waived his right to a preliminary hearing. Graves was inside with his wrists and ankles shackled. He is charged with attacking 6 women in Fort Collins, and it's still not clear if he will be tried first in Colorado or in Philadelphia, where he is charged with 6 sexual assaults and the murder of Shannon Schieber. In Philadelphia, more legal maneuverings in the Pier 34 collapse case. One of the 2 defendants in the case, Michael Asbell, was in court today, where defense attorneys argue that the felony charge of risking a catastrophe should be thrown out. The lawyers argue that the charge of failing to prevent prevent a catastrophe is more appropriate in the case that claimed 3 lives. That is a misdemeanor, and if it becomes the most serious charge against Asbel and Eli Koretny, who is recovering from a heart attack, they could face a non-jury trial in municipal court. In La Plata, Maryland, they are picking up the pieces today, that after last night's powerful tornado. A resident took these pictures of the tornado, the first F5 twister in Maryland history, and F5 is the strongest category of tornado, quite rare, with winds between 261 and 318 miles an hour. Tornadoes ripped through cities and towns from Missouri to Maryland last night, killing a total of 6 people, including 3 in Maryland. Dozens of homes were destroyed, and for many survivors, it was a close call, like a Maryland man caught in his car.
And I backed up and come down here to get away from it, and I couldn't get away. It caught me. It just picked the car up and spun it around like a top.
The governor of Maryland has declared a state of emergency in 3 counties. A tornado in 1926 killed 14 children in La Plata, but even that tornado was not as strong as the one last night. In the Middle East, an agreement has been reached to free Yasser Arafat from his compound in Ramallah. But Arafat is still inside and will apparently remain there until 6 Palestinians wanted by the Israelis are escorted out by American and British monitors. The deal, brokered by the United States, will see those monitors watch over the 6 Palestinian militants while they are imprisoned in a Palestinian jail. Meanwhile, an Israeli sniper shot and killed a Palestinian militiaman today when he walked into a courtyard of the Church of the Nativity. Still, officials think that a settlement to end the siege in Bethlehem is drawing near. The most violent flashpoint today was the West Bank city of Hebron, where Israeli fire killed 9 Palestinians. Israeli tanks moved into Hebron early today, and Israeli troops lined up dozens of Palestinian men. 17 were arrested, including several on Israel's most wanted list. There will be more on the Middle East on Nightline tonight. Tonight, Ted Koppel spends 24 hours with Israeli troops surrounding the Church of the Nativity. That is on Nightline immediately following our broadcast. Several passengers of a U.S. Airways flight from Philadelphia to Orlando have been released after being detained and questioned by the FBI. U.S. Airways Flight 335 returned to Philadelphia International Airport shortly after taking off last night after a report of suspicious passengers on board. One passenger, who said he was sitting next to one of the men, described them as Middle Eastern and acting strangely.
Really looked really suspicious, and he was talking, but not to anyone in particular. And I asked him at one point, I said, "Excuse me, are you talking to me?" And he said, no, but he kept talking down into his chest.
The incident was one of 4 around the country yesterday in which air travelers of foreign descent were questioned by the FBI. All of them have been released. The New Jersey Lottery Commission has resolved a dispute over the big game winning ticket, and the name of the winner will be revealed tomorrow. A group of lottery players from Newark, from a nursing home there, found out today that they were not in the running for a share of the jackpot.
We have decided and found that there is no credible evidence whatsoever to support the claim made by the group of 10 workers at the nursing home.
Lottery Director Carol Hedinger says that by matching surveillance tapes from the Hillside, New Jersey convenience store to internal lottery records, officials were able to verify that no one connected to a Newark nursing home has the winning ticket. The winning ticket was purchased at the Gulf Gas 123 market, but it was not bought by Angelito Marquez. The man co-workers thought had kept a winning ticket for himself that was bought for a company pool.
When they saw it, I could see them deflate, but they were now resolved that that the proof was there, that that wasn't their guy.
Just from the beginning, we just want to know the truth, that's all.
Some of the nursing home workers who thought they had a claim visited lottery headquarters today and had this reaction to the big game mix-up.
I was disappointed, but then after I know who win it and I'm not being cheated or anything, I'm happy.
The rightful owner of that winning ticket, which as you all know came to that location where the ticket was sold on the day after the draw and had the ticket validated, he has presented that ticket, and we will present him tomorrow at a press conference and announce who he is.
I'm Nora Mushanek, Channel 6 Action News.
And still to come on Action News tonight, next, a local community prepares for the potential of a major disaster. And then there is something supernatural about this picture, or is there? A special report on phantom finders.
Well, the cloud cover's hanging on, some spotty rain hanging on. What's going to happen tomorrow? We'll find out when we check Storm Tracker 6 Live. And, of course, we'll have the AccuWeather forecast.
On Health Check, tips on how to cut the calories without cutting out your favorite foods. That and much more when Action News continues tonight.
you see news happening, call the Action News tip line toll-free at 866-NEWS-6 or contact us online at WPVI.com.
It was all a drill, but the stage was set in West Goshen Township, Chester County tonight for a major disaster. A twin-engine military aircraft making an emergency landing, injuring dozens of passengers on board. The simulated crisis was part of a disaster drill for emergency medical technicians, firefighters, and paramedics. Officials say in the wake of September 11th, the need for training in mass casualty situations is essential. It has been 10 years since race riots rocked Los Angeles, California. Today, President Bush marked the anniversary at the First African Methodist Episcopal Church in South Central LA, the scene of the worst violence. It was on this date, 1992, that the city erupted in riots after 4 white police officers were acquitted of the videotape beating of black motorist Rodney King. The rioting lasted for 4 days and cost billions of dollars in damage. Los Angeles Cardinal Roger Mahoney is hospitalized tonight with a blood clot in his lung. Mahoney entered the hospital last night. He is in good condition. The news came on the same day that 4 men filed suit against the 66-year-old cardinal, alleging that he covered up sexual abuses by priests. The suit claims Mahoney knew of the abuses and promised the victims' families that the priests would be fired, which they were not. On Health Check at 11, if you want to slice some serious calories and pounds, but just cannot give up your favorite foods, there are some ways to do it, we are told. First, eating smaller meals spread through the day can help you avoid overdoing it at mealtime or on snacks. And pack in the fruits and vegetables. They are more filling. As for breakfast, watch out for those New York-style bagels. They are the calorie equivalent of 6 slices of bread, but scooping out some of the inside can trim 250 calories. As for muffins, they may look healthy, but
commercial muffins are nothing better than glorified cupcakes.
For pizza lovers, soaking up the oil on top can trim 1 teaspoon of fat. Salad eaters can either keep the dressing to 1 tablespoon or switch to oil and vinegar. Finally, watch those beverages. Most bottles are 16, even 20 ounces, more than 2 servings, so stick to half the bottle at a time. The biological clock starts ticking earlier than previously thought. A new study found that for men, fertility starts dwindling after the age of 35, and for women, it begins to slide at 27. Scientists used to think that female fertility started dropping in the early 30s. You will want to watch this next story closely. Action News recently went along with some so-called phantom finders who are out to prove that ghosts are real, not imaginary. Michelle McCormack shows us what they have found in tonight's special report.
Why don't we start at the top and work our way down?
This is not your typical non-for-profit organization. Rather, their charity for the living comes by tracking the dead.
This is really cool.
Susan Beauvais is one of several researchers who are part of South Jersey Paranormal Research Incorporated. They tour homes and other buildings free of charge, armed with cameras, motion detectors, even thermometers to document paranormal activity.
And if you feel a cold spot or even a warm spot, you should try to get a reading from the spot.
Patty and Bill Rice invited them to their Laurel Springs home, which has been in the family for generations, and where they've noticed some hijinks in the basement.
I've been down in the basement, put the laundry into the washer, which is a top loader, closed the lid, gone back upstairs, come back down, lid's up. She says I'm crazy, happens 4 more times, then it happens to her.
The Rices also report lights flickering on and off, and just a couple weeks ago, Bill thought he saw his grandfather in this hallway. The only thing is, Grandpa died back in 1988 in this house.
One night when my kids were not home, he was coming out of their room, looking into my room like he was looking for them.
Using emotional attachments to draw out Grandpa, the researchers begin. Within minutes, they hit.
Any spirits are present?
Actually, I did just get an orb. It was a fast one.
Yeah, did you see that up there?
Researchers call them orbs, tiny circles on your screen. The phantom finders say they're balls of spiritual energy that continue to swirl in the basement even after they've left the room.
You guys ready?
There we go. Did you see that?
Watch closely. That's an orb coming from left to right. The researcher behind the lens continues rolling, hoping for one last orb. He is not disappointed.
So what were those circles of light seen moving about in this house and caught on tape? We figured only video experts could tell us for sure, but not even their findings are conclusive.
Engineers at Sony tell Action News they ruled out any manipulation of the camera or light, but couldn't figure out what was causing the images on the screen. For that reason, engineer Tom Moritz says they couldn't rule out the explanation that the so-called orbs are spiritual energy.
It's kind of spooky at times. It's neat, though, to have them here. It seems like they're here to watch over the kids and everything, which is neat.
And it's enough to keep the phantom finders on their road to where the hereafter meets the here and now. In Laurel Springs, New Jersey, Michelle McCormack, Action News.
So who are you going to call? All right. If you want another look at the orbs, please visit our website at WPVI.com and follow the link to Phantom Finders. In addition to the video clips, we've also created a space for you to write your opinion after viewing them. And we'll take those opinions seriously, you can be assured. As we will with the AccuWeather. Don't doubt what you see. You never know.
I've lost my appetite. Yeah. I hear ticking, and I can't find the orbs. I mean, it's one of those nights. Things are just not going well for me.
What about the...
Look at this.
The thing.
Storm Tracker 6
That's what
live. Every 20 seconds we have a sweep. We're seeing absolutely nothing. Thank goodness we cleared all of those systems out late last night into the early morning hours. All right, let's go to the satellite along with... well, first of all, we want to talk about rainfall totals. Philadelphia got an inch out of this system over the weekend. But still, the state of Pennsylvania is 5 to 8 inches below normal during the last 6 months. There it is, 4 to 7 inches below normal the last 6 months, and Delaware remains the winner here, 7 to 10 inches below normal. So we got some rain. We need much more rain. Now we're going to go to the satellite along with Action Radar. And again, you see the cloud cover here, precipitation to our north, not up into New England, but it's just falling apart. Across the country, we'll see a pretty good look at the system here. You see the northern plains states up there. They're getting some precip out of this. Cloud cover just kind of hanging in for us. We check out the systems now. We go through tomorrow on Tuesday. There's a frontal system there, a warm front, 64 degrees. We'll have some sun in the morning. Then the cloud cover comes in. And then as we head on into Wednesday, we are looking for 64 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. And again, the possibility of some precipitation. So we're not going to get too much sunshine. Cloud cover seems to be hanging on. The call from AccuWeather is cool breezes come tomorrow. Sun in the morning and then... some cloud cover. 34 degrees in the Poconos, 43 in Allentown, 44 in Reading, 48 in Dover, 50 degrees in Cape May, Atlantic City, 48 degrees, 45 in Trenton, 48. Our present temperature reading is our low for the day. 66 degrees was the high in the Northeast, 46, 47 outside the station, 48 for Center City and the airport. Camden, 47 degrees. Let's go live on Sky 6. We look to the Benjamin Franklin Bridge and the colors they're on. 11 o'clock numbers, please. We are showing 48 degrees, humidity 60%, thermometer 2990. It is steady. Winds are out of the northeast at 13 miles an hour. Ocean temperature continues to creep up. It's now up to 54 degrees. Tonight, AccuWeather says mostly cloudy and chilly. Feels more like a fall evening. You've been out at all tonight. The low 40 degrees in the suburbs, 44. For Center City. The exclusive AccuWeather 5-day forecast, rush hour in the morning, we're looking for some sun, 46 degrees. And then the cloud cover comes in, 64 degrees. We cannot rule out the possibility of shower or two throughout the day. Wednesday, clouds and sun, more clouds than sun, 64 degrees. Again, the possibility of spritz. Hanging over on Thursday, the morning we'll start with some rain, windy conditions, but we're up to 70 degrees. We're on the warmer side. Then windy and cooler, 64 degrees on Friday. Saturday, more clouds, 68 degrees. So the cloud cover hanging on. We'll see some sunshine in the morning and then more cloud cover coming in the afternoon, Jim.
And coming up on Action News, Gary Papa, who is always a bundle of spiritual energy, has the latest on the Sixers and Phillies in San Francisco when we continue in just a moment. A Philadelphia institution will soon be closing its doors.
Girl, see you in a Crash Brothers suit, I get all choked up.
After 50 years in business, Crash Brothers men's clothing store on South Street is shutting its doors for good. Owner Ben Crash says the slumping economy is forcing him to close the so-called Store of the Stars. Phillies trying to right a leaking ship. Here's Gary Pop.
Watch out for those leaking ships. Phillies out in San Francisco. Thank you, Jim. Early highlights from Pac Bell Park. Here we go. Little trouble for Robert Person. Bottom of the second inning. Gets out of it. Strikes out Jason Schmidt. Top of the third. Runner on third. Bobby Abreu.
With a hit to right field. Rollins scores.
He scores 1-0 now. Your Phillies are winning that in the top of the fifth out there in San Francisco. Eagles had a visitor today from Green Bay. Dorsey Levin says he's 100% and more than ready to step in and help out now that Carell Buchalter is out for the season. He stops by for a visit, even checking out the turf at the practice facility, and he knows the situation right here. He knows the depth chart about Deuce Staley.
Deuce is a starter, and you have to come in and work your way up. Nothing's going to be handed to you if you want to play. You got to work for it, and that's all I expect.
So long, Dorsey. Kajana Carter will be visiting later on this week to check out the Eagles. Sixers working out for Wednesday's big game, of course, against the Boston Celtics. Once again, it is a fight for survival. Sixers shooting today instead of cleaning out their lockers. Having won yesterday, they now know what they have to do. Execute.
We know how important execution is, awareness on the court, and how much we prepare. We got to lay it all on the line because we can't lose anymore.
That's the situation. Game 4 coming up on Wednesday. Tonight, NBA. Game 4, Detroit at Toronto. Here's former Villanova star Elvin Williams with a big basket. Elvin and Toronto survive for Game 5. They won tonight, 89-83. Series tied at 2. Flyers with the question of just how high up will the changes be for this hockey team. Could it be the end for their general manager, Bob Clark? The skate zone today is absolutely empty. Most likely Bill Barber will be gone. The question for the captain is changing these head coaches all the time. Does it really make a difference in your hocky team?
Success with anybody. It doesn't necessarily, to me, it's you can change a coach every year, and it's if things are done right and your systems are done the right way and everybody's on the same page. And
very quiet these days in Voorhees, but not tonight in Montreal. It is a serious game. Tied at 1, third period. Montreal is on the power play, and Yannick Perreault scores. Montreal wins it 2-1. They win that series tonight in 6 games over the Boston Bruins.
Thank you, Gary.
Okay.
We have new information now out of Florence Township. Let's go live to Chopper 6 over the scene. This is 304 Foundry Street, where firefighters have apparently gotten the fire out, but 2 people have been transported to Rancocas Hospital, both reported to be in very serious, if not critical condition. As you can see, firefighters wrapping up the job at 304 Foundry in Florence Township, but 2 people seriously hurt. 2 New York City police officers were honored in Philadelphia tonight for their heroism at the World Trade Center site. Action News was at City Hall as Pride Fest America awarded its Distinguished Service Award to officers Francis Coppola and Carol Paulkner. Officer Paulkner received injuries when the second plane hit, but she stayed to help evacuate the towers. Detective Coppola and Officer Paulkner were 2 of the first officers to respond to the towers after the attack on September 11th. They received high praise tonight in Philadelphia. Nightline next on Channel 6. Action News continues at 5 a.m. with Monica Malpass, Rick Williams, and Cecily Tynan. Now for Gary Papa, Dave Roberts, the entire Action News team, I'm Jim Gardner. Good night.